Today, we're rewinding to the 90s to talk about a dark comedy that confused some, freaked out others, and slowly became a cult classic. This week's episode, The Cable Guy, starring Jim Carrey in one of his weirdest but most brilliant performances ever. And I'll start off with the big question. Now that cable is essentially dead and streaming services run our entertainment lives, how are people going to discover forgotten gems of the past? I mean, Who's the Boss notwithstanding? That's a fantastic show. But this proves my point. Without the ad on the Roku channel, someone might not know what Who's the Boss is. They might click on it, discover that it's a brilliant show, and ask that eternal question, who's the boss? Well, those of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s know Mona. Mona was the boss. But I digress. The Cable Guy dropped in 1996, right after Jim Carrey exploded into pop culture with In Living Color, then hits like Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. But his character Chip in The Cable Guy was not the goofy Carrey we were used to. This was creepy Carrey, stalker Carrey. He plays Chip Douglas, a cable installer who latches on to a customer, played by Matthew Broderick. What begins as a free cable hookup quickly spirals into obsession, manipulation, and full-blown stalker territory. Now, directed by Ben Stiller, The Cable Guy took a bold swing by mixing comedy with traditional elements of psychological thrillers. Audiences were weirded out at first, but over time, The Cable Guy gained respect for how ahead of its time it was. And it really did predict the future. And in my opinion, this is the genius part of The Cable Guy. It's not just a weird stalker movie. It's a satire of TV addiction. Chip himself is the product of being raised by television. He quotes movies, he mimics shows, and he confuses reality with reruns. And there's a great line at the end where he says, "I learned the facts of life from watching the facts of life." And it hits different because in the 90s, cable was king. We had dozens of channels, 24/7 programming, and that dream of 500 channels and nothing on. People lived in front of their TVs. And when I say we lived in front of our TVs, we would watch 30-minute Ronco infomercials on how to make rotisserie chickens or dice vegetables. Just TV dominated our lives. And Chip represented what happens when someone has no real relationships, only parasocial ones with completely fictional characters. Fast forward to today, and cable is basically a dinosaur. Between Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Disney Plus, etc., people aren't flipping channels, they're scrolling menus. And the irony is that all of the shows Chip worships, such as My Three Sons, Knight Rider, and Star Trek, are buried in digital catalogs, unless you already know where to look for them. In the age of cable, you'd stumble onto some weird show while flipping through channels at 2 a.m. It was a glorious thing to experience. And that accidental discovery is kind of lost unless you're flipping through one of these streaming services and something catches your attention. Maybe the title card looks good. Maybe you like the pictures. I don't know. Maybe you like the description, but that accidental discovery that we all experienced when cable was king is lost. And that's kind of sad. So here's another big question. How do people find new old shows now? Back in Chip's day, we'd trip over a Twilight Zone marathon and end up watching 12 episodes, and then we were hooked on that show like that. Unless an algorithm recommends it or someone posts a clip on TikTok, it might as well not exist. We've traded random access for recommended access. And that's not always bad, but it means fewer happy accidents, fewer weird, unforgettable moments like stumbling on The Cable Guy during a late night movie block. And that's part of what makes movies like this even more important now. It's not just about nostalgia, it's a time capsule of a media world that is disappearing. The cable guy was warning us in a hilarious and twisted way about what happens when media becomes your only connection to the world. It was edgy, uncomfortable, and way smarter than people give it credit for. So if you've never seen it, or if you wrote it off as just weird Jim Carrey, go give it another look. It's more relevant now than ever. Next time you're scrolling endlessly on a streaming app, maybe take a chance on something old, forgotten, maybe even a little unsettling. So go ahead and give the subscribe button a click of the remote so you never miss a thing. We have enjoyed all of our July content, and we are so looking forward to Action August that begins with 1998's Armageddon. I could not be happier. I cannot wait to discuss 1998's Armageddon and all of its plot twists and weirdness and just wonderfulness. On that note, be sure to subscribe to the Real Relationships podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. We are also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and of course, YouTube, where new episodes of this show drop every Thursday. Be sure to follow us so you never miss a thing. In the meantime, stay safe, keep scrolling, and we'll see you soon.